Hello students, welcome to today's lecture. Today we are going to discuss chapter 11 of Business Studies. The name of the chapter is International Business. In the previous chapter, we have discussed in detail about internal business. We saw that when trade or exchange of goods and services takes place within the domestic boundaries of a country, it is termed as internal trade. Now that we understand what internal trade is, it is fairly easy to understand what international trade or business would mean. International business would mean manufacturing and or trading beyond the boundaries of one's own country. So basically we can say that international trade is the trade or business between two or more countries. It involves those business activities that take place across the national frontiers. It involves not only international movement of goods and services, but also the movement of capital, personnel, technology, intellectual property like patent, trademark, etc. So any sort of movement related to the activity of business beyond the boundaries of a country can be termed under international business. And this is very important to understand. Why? Because mostly people think of international business as international trade only. As students of business studies, you should know that trade is not business. Business is a wider term. Trade is a part of it. Trade means exchange of goods and services, while business includes a lot of other things. No doubt that international trade, which basically means export and import of goods, has historically been an important component of international business, but nowadays international business has broadened its horizon a lot. It is not just about trade only. Of late, the scope of international business has substantially expanded. International trade in services such as international travel and tourism, transportation, communication, banking, warehousing, distribution and advertising has considerably grown recently. Therefore, international business has become way more than just the exchange of goods. It includes a whole lot of services now. Now the next question that arises in front of us is why to do international business, why to get engaged in this particular activity. Because in earlier times, in long back history, there was no international business. Primarily, people used to trade within limited boundaries. Then why has this international business phenomena taken over the globe? The fundamental reason behind international business is that the countries cannot produce equally well or cheaply all that they need. What I'm trying to say is that a country basically cannot produce everything, and even if it cannot produce it at the desirable cost. Either it cannot produce everything, there would be something that it cannot produce, or if it can produce that good also, it would be at a higher cost. So that is why countries think of international business, because there is an unequal distribution of natural resources among the countries. Not every country will have every resource. Some countries are good in some resource, some are good in some other resource. Availability of various factors of production such as labor, capital, raw material, etc. that are required for producing different goods and services differ among nations. Some nations have good quality of labor, some have more capital, some have more raw material. So every country is good in something and not so good in something else. Due to these differences, it is not uncommon to find one particular country being in a better position to produce better quality products at lower costs than what other nations can do. So basically, some countries can produce some goods better than other countries, while some other countries can produce other goods better than the first countries. Due to these differences, some countries have an advantage in some goods, while some other countries have advantage in other goods. This advantage is known as comparative advantage. And due to this, countries prefer to focus on producing what they are good at and getting the other things from outside, or basically importing them. So I would like to produce what I am good at, and what I cannot produce that well, I would like to import that from other countries. At the same time, since I am good in producing a particular product, I would like to produce it so much that I can even export it to those countries which need that product. That's how the entire concept of buying and selling from other countries emerged. So I hope now you understand why countries engage in international business. There are several other reasons as well. But this is the primary reason for countries to engage in international business. If we were to talk about other reasons or other benefits that countries get, there would be many. But let's focus on a few benefits. And let's first talk about benefits to countries, and then we'll also talk about benefits to firms. If we were to talk about benefits to countries of international business, the first thing that we've already discussed is that it helps them in acquiring the goods that it cannot produce efficiently. We can get those goods from other countries. Secondly, international business is a source of earning foreign exchange, and in today's times, holding foreign exchange, holding foreign currency is a sign of financial or economic strength of a country. So countries want to have more and more foreign exchange, and international business allows them to earn that exchange. Besides this, international business helps the countries in efficiently utilizing their resources, because they can use and focus the use of their resources in what they are good at producing. They don't have to waste their resources in producing something that they will not be able to produce efficiently. They can just focus on their expertise, which will lead to an efficient use of resources. Apart from this, international business also helps in improving growth prospects and employment potentials. Because due to international business, now countries can produce more, especially the goods that they are good in. Since they can produce more, there will be more production activity. A higher amount of production activity will lead to greater employment generation in the country. And with this comes the next benefit, which is the increased standard of living. With more employment, more incomes coming in, more foreign exchange coming into the country, the standard of living of the people of the country will also increase. So these were the benefits to countries of engaging in international business. Talking about the benefits to firms, even firms can benefit a lot from international business. First of all, international business helps them in utilizing their capacity in a better manner. What this means is that, suppose if there was a firm that could produce 1 lakh tons of a particular product, but it was not producing that much. Its capacity was to produce 1 lakh tons, but it was not producing that much because its market, the domestic market, was not sufficient enough to absorb that production. There was only a demand for about 70,000 tons, due to which its capacity equivalent to 30,000 tons of production was not getting utilized. But when there is an opportunity for international business, it can produce more and sell the surplus to other countries. As a result, it will be able to utilize that idle capacity. This will help to utilize the entire capacity of the plant of a factory or a company. Secondly, international business provides scope for higher profits also, because usually goods are sold at a higher price than the domestic market in the international business. That helps the companies to earn higher profits. International business is also good for the growth prospects of the company. A company which is already really established and popular in the domestic market can expand its business globally with the help of international business, which will help it to grow. Similarly, if there is intense competition in the domestic market for that particular company's industry, international business provides a way out from that competition. If there was intense competition in the domestic market and the company was not able to generate higher margins of profit, it can explore international markets where there is not that intense amount of competition, and it can earn profits from the other markets. And finally, with the help of international business, the business vision of a company also improves. It can look to a broader level of operation, to a broader and bigger future. It can look at expanding its business to a great extent internationally, globally, and there are several companies these days that are operating in hundreds of countries. That really expands the vision of the business of a firm. So now we are very clear that international business is really beneficial to both firms and entire countries. Now that we know that how important international business is, let us also discuss briefly how it is different from domestic business. Number one, if we talk about the nationality of buyers and sellers, in domestic business, buyers and sellers basically belong to the same nation, they have the same nationality. In international business, there are different buyers and different sellers from different countries. A buyer could be from some other country while the seller could be from some other country. So the nationality of buyers and sellers is not the same. Secondly, mobility of factors of production. The degree of mobility of factors of production like labor and capital is generally higher within a country, because it is easier to travel within the country than to travel between countries. That is why labor particularly is more mobile. It can easily move within a country as compared to traveling between or among different countries. Number 3, customer heterogeneity. The customers in domestic business are from the same country. They belong to broadly a same culture, same set of mind. As a result, they are homogeneous in a domestic business, while in international business, customers are really heterogeneous. A company which is engaged in international business can be selling the same product to different customers of different countries, and each customer from each country would be different from each other. A customer from Japan would be very different from a customer from America or a customer from Europe. So customers are heterogeneous in their way of dealing, in their way of thinking, in their way of using the products. That is what we call as customer heterogeneity. Apart from this, business systems and practices are also different when we are dealing in international business. In international business, a firm or a company has to trade with customers of different countries, and each country has its own systems of business, its own business practices, which could be different in different countries. While in domestic business, since we are dealing within one country itself, overall the business system and practices are more or less same. Similarly, political systems and risks are also quite different and varying and really different from each other in different countries. So that's what a problem basically is faced by companies dealing in international business, because they have to cope up and understand with different political systems and risks of different countries. While in domestic business, basically there is one political system, and that is very easy to understand because the business has grown from that particular country itself. So the risk of not understanding the political system is also lower. Finally, a very easy difference between the two trades is that under domestic business, the currency used is the currency of the country, the local currency. While in international business, usually there is a foreign currency involved. So these were the differences between international business and domestic business. I hope now you're very clear that how domestic business is different from international business and how international business proves to be more challenging because of different types of customers, different political systems, different business systems. Even the currency systems are different. So a business engaged in international business has to understand a lot of things, has to have a good grasp on these different cultures and systems and exchanges, currency systems basically. So dear students, before we go further and deeper into this chapter, let us first try and recapture everything that we have talked about international business till now. Because going further, we are going to talk about really intricate details of different varieties of international business and the procedures involved in them. And the procedures are fairly long and complicated. So before we get into that, let us first try and recapture everything that we have done till now. First of all, what do we mean by international business? By international business, we understand that businesses or business activities take place between two or more countries. So when a business or a business activity goes beyond the boundaries of its own country, it becomes international and its activities become international. International business has gone way beyond just the trade or just the exchange of goods and services. What do we mean by trade? Trade is basically exchanging goods and services, buying and selling of goods and services. International business has become way more than that. It has now been capturing different activities of a business, be it communication, be it banking, be it transportation, or everything related to business activities has become international now. Not just the buying and selling activity has gone global, but even all such services related to trade have also gone global. That's why international business has become so crucial these days. It is important not just for businesses or firms as it helps them in earning higher profits and in getting access to bigger markets. It is also important to countries because it helps the countries in earning foreign currency. It helps the country in getting those goods and services which it is not able to produce efficiently. So international business is very crucial in today's times for businesses and for countries itself. And not just for business and countries, it is also important for customers or the general public, because with the help of international business, now people can enjoy a wider variety of goods and services. They can enjoy higher quality of goods and services, higher technology, because there are certain technologies, there are certain product developments which may not take place in our country, but they might have already taken place in other countries. Take the example of India. Before 1991, when India globalized its economy, before that, Indian customers would hardly get to experience the high-end technology, the computers and everything that were getting popular in the Western nations. Indian customers were deprived of that. But with the help of global trade and international business, Indian customers can enjoy all those goods that are available internationally, all those high-end, technologically advanced products that other people enjoy. So that is why international business is very crucial for customers as well. International business is widely and broadly different from domestic business, and we have seen the differences between the two. So now I hope you understand what international business is and how different it is from domestic business and how important it is. Now we'll talk about the scope of international business in a country. By scope of international business, we basically mean the different areas or categories or sections in which international business takes place. These areas or categories are basically put under 4 different names. Today, we'll just name these categories and have an overview, so that when we come to the next part of this chapter, we at least have an idea about them, and then we'll start discussing the details of these different areas. So today, broadly, international business is done in 4 categories. Number 1, merchandise exports and imports. Merchandise exports and imports basically refer to exports and imports of goods. They are also known as visible exports and imports. So basically they are export and import of goods, physical goods, such as products like telephones, mobile phones, TV, etc. Such goods, when traded between countries, is known as merchandise export and import. Export, as we all know, is selling the goods produced in one country to other countries, while import basically means buying goods from other countries. So what is export for one country is basically import for the other country. So when export and import of goods is done, it is called merchandise exports. That is number 1. Similarly, these days, services are also exported and imported. Number 3, there is a system of licensing and franchising that we will talk about in detail in the coming parts. And after that, 4th very crucial and important category of international business is foreign investments. Now, business is not just business in goods and services. Business has gone beyond that. There is a trade or exchange of investment or capital as well. People or companies from one country go and make investments in other countries, and that's what we call as foreign investments, which can be of different forms. So we will talk about these 4 categories in the coming parts of the chapter. In today's lesson, we just tried to build a basic understanding of what international business means. We saw the importance of international business. We saw its difference from domestic business. I hope you were able to understand all of these concepts clearly, because once you're done with this, you'll be ready to understand different categories of international business in the coming classes. This was it from today's class. Thank you.